Bro, I sometimes watching Eagles football really just pisses me off because it's like one week everything looks great for the most part. We have good footing for the following week. And then you'll sometimes have weeks where it'll just be you just have to ask yourself like, bro, what is happening? Like what are we doing? Like what is going on what is going on during these staff meetings and coaches meetings from week to week in between games during the week? What's being talked about in the film room? It just it honestly it honestly for me, the first thing that comes to mind is the play calling. That's the first thing that comes to mind. When I watch this game, on Sunday between the Eagles and the Cowboys did not beat the Eagles. Play calling did. Like the Cowboys defense did not shut down the Eagles offense. Kevin Patullo did. Kevin Patullo did more to shut down this Eagles offense than anything the Cowboys defense were able to do on Sunday. Like I've never seen play calling hold a team back more, hold an offense back more than watching Eagles football. Like play calling, just like I said before, was the biggest opponent, was the biggest threat for this Eagles offense. It wasn't anything the Cowboys defense did. It wasn't anything Donovan Ezeraku did. It wasn't anything Deron Bland did. It wasn't anything that any Cowboys player did that was a bigger threat to the Eagles offense than the offensive play calling of Kevin Patullo. That's been the biggest threat for this Eagles offense for really this entire season. This entire season, I've never seen play calling hurt a team more. I've never seen play calling limit a team more, limit the talent of a team more than watching Eagles football. I feel like that's been the case for the past 3 years. The Eagles offensive play calling has limited the talent within this offense for the past 3 years. Easily the past 3 years. Like the second half, like it was night and day watching this game. First half, it looked great. It was a masterclass by Kevin Patullo on the sideline, how diverse the offense looked, the way we were attacking the defense deep downfield, attacking the weaknesses of this Cowboys team, which is the secondary. Second half, Patullo had the offense in a box. Patullo had the offense in a box in the second half. You basic route concepts, the same old, what we've been seeing, straight up curl stop routes, quick slants. Like it's no creativity in the run game whatsoever. Kevin Patullo did more to hurt this Eagles offense than anything the Cowboys defense did on Sunday. Like, and honestly, if you look at this game between the first half and the second half, it really just shows you how big of a difference play calling makes. How big of a difference play calling can make for an offense. It was night and day. First half, dominance. Total dominance. We're talking about over 300 yards of offense, 3 touchdowns. AJ Brown, like the passing game was unstoppable. The Cowboys defense had no answer for the passing game. It made it easier for the O-line to create more run lanes and for Saquon Barkley. Like everything looked smooth for the most part in the first half. The offense was completely dominant in the first half. The second half was a completely different story. In the first half, we saw the offense digging into its bag a little bit in the passing game. We saw Kevin Patullo expand the route tree for these receivers. We actually saw AJ Brown running post routes. We saw Kevin Patullo taking advantage of the single coverage situations, opportunities for Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. We saw them taking shots down the field, attacking this secondary, attacking what is really the weakest secondary in the NFL. Second half, completely different. Like in the first half, we saw Kevin Patullo be aggressive. We saw Kevin Patullo open up the route tree for these receivers. We saw AJ Brown running post routes. We saw the receivers running intermediate crossers. We saw Kevin Patullo taking advantage of the single coverage opportunities that Devontae Smith and AJ Brown found in this game. And it showed in the production. Like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, 14 yards per carry averaged in the first half. They combined for over 200 receiving yards. 14 yards per carry as a duo. Like this, all of those, like looking at AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, 14 yards per carry, combined for 200 yards, 1 touchdown. Most of that was in the first half. Most of that production, explosive production, came in the first half when Kevin Patullo was being aggressive in the game plan. How do you watch that in the first half? How do you watch what AJ Brown and Devontae Smith did in the first half and decide to play conservative and lean away from that in the second half? Like using common sense, like as a professional coordinator, as a professional play caller, with the elite talent that you have on this offense, how do you watch what these guys did? How do you watch what this passing game did in the first half? As a former passing game coordinator, how do you watch what this passing game did in the first half and decide to switch it up entirely in the second half? How do you watch AJ Brown and Devontae Smith take advantage of these mismatches and decide, you know what? We're going to play it safe in the second half. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling what we are seeing on Sundays from the offensive coordinator. It's mind-boggling. Like, the second half collapse was 100% play calling. It was 100% play calling. Like, it was a complete 180 from the progress Patullo has shown over these past few weeks. Complete 180 from the progress he's been making. Complete 180. First half was super aggressive. The offense was unpredictable. You weren't really sure what route AJ Brown was going to run. You weren't sure what Devontae Smith was going to do. You weren't sure what Jalen Hurts was going to do because of the attention that the defense sort of had for the deep thirds of the field, the extra protection that the Cowboys had over top to sort of guard against these receivers. Open it up for Jalen Brown to get a little freaky in the run game. Like, the offense was unpredictable in the first half. The second half, the Cowboys knew exactly what we were going to do because of how conservative the Eagles played. Because of how conservative the game plan was. Like, it was honestly night and day. Patullo has proven time and time again that he is the biggest threat to this Eagles offense. He proves it time and time again. There's no bigger threat to the Eagles right now than the offensive play calling of Kevin Patullo. It's not the 9-2 Rams. It's not the Seahawks with an MVP candidate and offensive player of the year candidate. It's not a healthy Bucs team. It's not like there's no other team in the NFC that poses a bigger threat to the Eagles right now than our very own offensive play caller, our very own offensive coordinator. Like, the internal threat is way more of an obstacle than any team that we're going to be seeing for the rest of the regular season and in the playoffs. Like, it just, and honestly, like the offensive play calling looks so bad. It's honestly making Nick Sirianni look bad. Like, the offensive play calling is so predictable and elementary and basic It's honestly dragging Nick Sirianni down as a head coach. And Nick Sirianni has an elite resume. An elite resume. Nick Sirianni is 32 and 4 in one score games, which is he ranks the best all time amongst coaches. He's 34 and 2 when winning the turnover battle, which puts him second all time amongst coaches. Nick Sirianni is known as a closer. He is known as a coach that is capable of winning games, as a coach that knows how to win games. Do you know how bad the offensive play calling has to be to drag that down? The offensive play calling is so bad, it is making Nick Sirianni look worse as a head coach, in spite of how elite his resume is. In spite of being in spite of being 32 and 4 in one score games, in spite of being 34 and 2 when winning the turnover battle, Kevin Patullo right now looks so bad as an offensive play caller, it's making Nick Sirianni look worse as a head coach. Like, Patullo's game plan, it honestly undermines Nick Sirianni's ability as a head coach. It undermines it. Like, if you look at Kevin Patullo's play calling has already lost us 3 games. It's lost us 3 games easily. It lost us the game against. It definitely lost us this game against the Cowboys, losing after losing a 21-point lead. It definitely lost us our second loss against the Giants. That was just an abysmal night offensively, and it lost us the game against the Broncos, against an elite defense in the Broncos. Like, the play calling has undermined Kevin Patullo's ability as a head coach. Not only did the play calling lose us 3 games, but it almost lost us 4 more. Kevin Patullo's play calling not only lost us 3 games, but it almost lost us 4 more. Jalen Hurts and the talent of the offense, the defense, the talent we have on offense, how efficient the defense has been for the most part, at least more than the offense, we were able to win those other games in spite of Kevin Patullo. In spite of Kevin Patullo. Like, if it were solely up to Kevin Patullo, we'd have 7 total losses right now as opposed to 3. Kevin Patullo's play calling, it's so bad, it is undermining the head coaching ability of Nick Sirianni. And honestly, it's going to get to a point where Nick Sirianni is going to have to choose between protecting his own job as head coach or still holding out hope for Kevin Patullo. It's gonna get to that point sooner rather than later where Nick Sirianni is gonna have to make a choice between choosing himself, saving himself, or continuing to have faith in Patullo, because Kevin Patullo consistently puts this Eagles team in a position to lose games as opposed to winning games. He's already lost us 3 games. Our 3 losses have come down to the offensive play calling. He almost lost us 4 additional games. He almost lost us 4 additional games on top of the 3 we've already lost. Nick Sirianni at some point is going to have to make a decision in regards to the future of this team, in terms of whether preserving himself as the head coach, a head coach that this Eagles team does need, a proven asset to this Eagles team, this Eagles winning percentage, or choosing to hold out faith in a member of his squad, and a member in having faith in this internal hire from his staff. He's going to have to make a choice at some point. But honestly, I can't stand that instead of acknowledging the true problem, which is the play calling, that people watching this game, or those who didn't watch this game, choose to blame Jalen Hurts. This loss had absolutely nothing to do with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not at fault for this loss. He's not at fault for this loss. Jalen Hurts did pretty much everything he could do to win this game. He had a perfect. Jalen Hurts was absolutely flawless in this game. For the most part, Jalen Hurts was perfect. 322 total yards, 3 touchdowns, 99 passer rating, 60% completion percentage. Like, Jalen Hurts protected the ball. He made the right decisions. He was aggressive in putting points on the board. He was aggressive in getting AJ Brown and Devontae Smith the ball. He was aggressive in taking advantage of that mismatch between his receivers against this god awful secondary. Jalen Hurts played like he wanted to win the game. The play calling put Jalen Hurts in a box and put him in a position where he had to play conservative football. Jalen Hurts was limited by the play calling in this game. This L was not Jalen Hurts' fault. It was by no means Jalen Hurts' fault. And as a matter of fact, Jalen Hurts outplayed Dak Prescott. Jalen Hurts did everything he could in this game to win the game. Jalen Hurts outplayed Dak Prescott in this game. Like, yes, Dak Prescott had more passing yards. He had a better passer rating. He had a better QBR, but he also had more turnovers. He not only had more turnovers, he had several throws that could have been additional turnovers where the defense just couldn't reel it in. The defense just couldn't secure the ball. Dak Prescott could have easily had 2 to 3 more turnovers in this game than what he actually had. Easily could have had more turnovers than what he had on Sunday. Jalen Hurts definitely outplayed Dak Prescott. He definitely outplayed Dak Prescott. Like, honestly, the offensive game plan, the position that the offensive game plan put the defense in is what made Dak Prescott look like a superstar. Like, the lackadaisical play calling of Kevin Patullo, it put the defense in a tough position, which made Dak Prescott look good, made Dak Prescott look like a winner, which we know he is not. Which we know, those of us who know the game, who watch the game, who love the game, we know Dak Prescott is anything but a winner. He's an MVP candidate. He's a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. He's a 4,000-yard passer. But Dak Prescott is not a winner. Kevin Patullo's offensive play calling and the chain reaction effect that it had in this game made Dak Prescott look like something he is not, and that is a winner. Jalen Hurts definitely outplayed Dak Prescott. Jalen Hurts did everything better than Dak Prescott, aside from having a flashy stat line. A flashy stat line that was misleading. Like, and it's honestly crazy to me because Jalen Hurts at this point is going to get blamed no matter what. I've been saying this from the jump. Jalen Hurts is going to get blamed no matter what. Jalen Hurts can have a non-flashy stat line and get a W, he'll get blamed. Jalen Hurts can have a flashy stat line and get an L and even if it's an L that had really nothing to do with him, and still get blamed. No matter what Jalen Hurts does, whether he has an eye-popping stat line or not, whether he wins games or doesn't, the rare times he doesn't, he's going to get the blame. Like there's always something that is going to be said about Jalen Hurts, regardless of what he does, regardless of what his output is. It honestly makes no sense. Like, if any other quarterback, literally any other quarterback in the NFL had the type of game that Jalen Hurts had the stat line that Jalen Hurts had, if Josh Allen had the stat line Jalen Hurts had, if Baker Mayfield had the stat line Jalen Hurts had, if Matt Stafford or Dak Prescott, even Sam Darnold, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, if any other quarterback had the stat line, had the game that Jalen Hurts had on Sunday against the Cowboys, they would be getting praised. They would be getting defended. Everyone would be jumping to their defense. It was everybody else's fault but the quarterback. Every other quarterback in the NFL will continue to get the benefit of the doubt, will continue to get the slack, will continue to get the leeway that people refuse to give to Jalen Hurts. People refuse to give to Jalen Hurts. Even though time and time again, for those that actually watch the game, can see he deserves. Like, if you watch this game on Sunday and truly believe Jalen Hurts is the reason why the Eagles lost this game, you don't know ball. You don't know ball. If you watch this game on Sunday and are preaching that Jalen Hurts is the problem, Jalen Hurts is the reason why the Eagles lost to got upset by the Cowboys, you either did not watch the game or you do not know ball. Like, it's like there's no other way to put it. There's no way you watch the game and can pin this all on Jalen Hurts. There's just no way. Jalen Hurts is consistently held back by coaching. Like, Jalen Hurts consistently has had an obstacle that no other elite to good quarterback in the NFL has had to deal with, and that's coaching. Jalen Hurts has consistently been limited by coaching, and this year, this entire season, especially this past game against the Cowboys, is just the latest example of that. If you look at Jalen Hurts' past coordinators, they have all been in his way. Kevin Patullo, trash. Kellen Moore, trash. Brian Johnson, trash. All three of his past coordinators have been complete and utter garbage. All three of Jalen Hurts' past coordinators have been nothing but garbage and have done nothing but to limit his potential, limit his ability within the offense. Aside from Shane Steichen, all of Jalen Hurts' offensive coordinators in the NFL have been garbage. Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback in the NFL, the only elite quarterback in the NFL who has been consistently limited by his coaching, by the offensive play calling coming from his sideline. No other quarterback can say they have had to overcome that type of obstacle, that type of challenge coming from within their own organization. No other quarterback can say they've had to overcome that. And and honestly, looking at all of the coaching changes that Jalen Hurts has had to put up with, looking at all of the terrible coordinators that he has had during his time in Philly, looking at all of the different offenses he's had to learn, you could make the argument Jalen Hurts is the most mentally capable quarterback in the NFL. Like, y'all can say whatever you want about who the best quarterback is, who the most elite quarterback is, who that elite group is, who the most capable quarterbacks are in the NFL. If there's one thing Jalen Hurts has proven during his time as a starter for the Philadelphia Eagles, it's at the very least, he is the most mentally capable quarterback in the NFL. Jalen Hurts has had to learn a completely new offensive scheme every single season he has been in the NFL. Every single season. Aside from that 2022 span with Shane Steichen. Jalen Hurts has had to learn more offensive schemes, more offensive game plans than any other quarterback, any other elite quarterback in the NFL. That's an extremely hard thing to do. Extremely hard thing to do. Like, learning a defense can be difficult. Learning a defense can be tough. Learning an offensive schemes are way more offensive game plans, offensive plays are way more complex than the scheme of a defense. Anyone who has actually played football will tell you that. Whether they're an offensive guy or a defensive guy, anyone will tell you that learning an offense is a lot harder than learning a defense. Jalen Hurts has had to learn an offense, has had to learn a new offense, get accustomed and get comfortable to a new offensive game plan almost every single year he has been in the NFL. At the very least, Jalen Hurts has proven that he is the most mentally capable quarterback in the NFL. At the very least, because no other quarterback has had to go through that type of mental test that has shown that sort of mental aptitude other than Jalen Hurts. At the very least, Jalen Hurts has shown that he is because on top of that, Jalen Hurts has shown capable of learning a new offensive game plan every single year. Despite having to learn a new offensive game plan every single year, Jalen Hurts is still a champion. He's still a Super Bowl MVP. He is still an All-Pro. He's still arguably the best dual threat running back, one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the NFL. Despite having to learn a new offense every year, despite having to learn an offensive game plan almost every single year, Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl champion. He's a Super Bowl MVP. He's an All-Pro. He's one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the NFL. Despite having to learn a new offense every year, Jalen Hurts has proven to be an elite quarterback. So at the very least, in terms of having to deal with all of the coaching changes he's had to deal with, Jalen Hurts at the very least has proven to be the most mentally capable quarterback in the NFL. And honestly, someone else who made a statement in this game on Sunday, AJ Brown. I don't want to hear anything else about CeeDee Lamb being a better receiver than AJ Brown. AJ Brown was the best receiver on the field on Sunday. There is no question AJ Brown vastly outplayed CeeDee Lamb. AJ Brown, I mean, in every category, outplayed CeeDee Lamb. 110 receiving yards, 8 catches, 1 touchdown. AJ Brown could have honestly did whatever he wanted to do against that secondary. If the game plan persisted in the second half, if the game plan was still aggressive, if it remained aggressive in the second half, allowing AJ Brown to just destroy this secondary, AJ Brown easily could have had over 180 receiving yards this game. Easily. There was no DB in that Cowboys secondary that would have been able to touch AJ. There's no DB in that secondary, including Deron Bland, that would have been able to withstand or maintain or contain AJ Brown. AJ Brown was a dog. I don't want to hear anything else about CeeDee Lamb being better than AJ Brown. AJ Brown proved that he is the better receiver than CeeDee Lamb. AJ Brown proved that in terms of that top 5 group, he ranks above CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb had almost more drops on Sunday than he had catches. He had almost more drops than he had catches. For an elite receiver, an elite caliber receiver, which CeeDee Lamb is, CeeDee Lamb honestly looked awful in this game against the Eagles. For a guy who was supposed to be an elite receiver, especially in comparison to how AJ Brown looked, CeeDee Lamb vastly underperformed in this matchup. Vastly underperformed. I don't want to hear anything else about CeeDee Lamb being a better receiver than AJ Brown. But honestly, it showed that for the most part, the players are not the problem in this offense. It's the game plan. It's the offensive play calling that's the issue. But one problem I will say comes close. I think the second biggest concern on this Eagles offense behind the offensive play calling is the offensive line. The offensive line is looking very concerning to me because of how different it looks when Lane Johnson is not on the field. Like, without Lane Johnson on the field, the offensive line, the communication is off. It seems like the offensive line lacks chemistry. They struggle to create run lanes. You know, they struggle to create run lanes for Saquon Barkley. Like, this offensive line honestly looks like a totally different offensive line when Lane Johnson is not on the field. And it's honestly weird because of how much talent we have on this offensive line. Like, the dogs we have on this offensive line. 3 Pro Bowlers in Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, and Jordan Mailata. A a guy who's proven to be a standout tackle in rotation in Fred Johnson. The potential Tyler Steen in showed in last year's offseason and in this year's offseason. It's honestly that's what honestly makes it even more concerning. The fact that we do have the talent that we have on this offensive line, but it's like it's not translating when Lane Johnson specifically is not on the field. And this offensive line honestly has been struggling for really most of this season, and it's been a couple things. I mean, it's Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson have been hurt. Tyler Steen does not have the same presence in the run game that Mekhi Becton had for this unit last year. We keep seeing consistent miscues and lack of communication amongst this unit. It doesn't seem like, and obviously because of the lack in availability, consistent availability, the offensive line isn't playing with the same chemistry that it had last season as well. So the offensive line is definitely a point of concern for me, and is honestly the second biggest concern for me behind the offensive play calling. And it's honestly, the run blocking is obviously a big part in why the run game overall is struggling. The offensive line, the run game overall is a concern for me as well. The offensive line is struggling to create run lanes as consistently as they were able to last year, because of the injuries and not having guys on the field at the same time. But also Saquon Barkley, it seems like he's having issues once those run lanes do open up, in those moments where the offensive line is able to open up the run lanes. It seems like Saquon Barkley, he's not taking advantage of those run lanes as consistently as he was either. It seems like Saquon Barkley is struggling to find the run lanes himself, in addition to the offensive line struggling to create them. It's honestly a combination. And honestly, this past game on Sunday was probably Saquon Barkley's worst game, one of his worst games in his entire career. Had issues protecting the ball, had issues taking care of the ball, and it seemed like he had issues seeing run lanes when they were there. So honestly, the run game, the offensive line is a point of concern for me, but the run game as a whole is a point of concern for me. But a big part in why the run game is struggling is because of the lack in creativity for the passing game. It's the lack in creativity for the passing game because of how basic the passing game is. It makes it easier to play against the run. It makes it easier for defenses to stack the box and play heavy against the run, which makes it harder for the offensive line to create those run lanes. Makes it harder for Saquon Barkley to find run lanes to run through. But I think something that would help the run game is utilizing Tank Bigsby more. Tank Bigsby should be utilized way more in this offense than what he is. And honestly, with how much Saquon Barkley is struggling right now in the offense, Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni, they need to consider splitting the carries between Tank Bigsby and Saquon Barkley. This backfield now needs to be a run game by committee, which is really what it should have been at the beginning of this year if A.J. Dillon was a little bit more explosive. If, I guess, Kevin Patullo trusted Will Shipley a little more than what it seems like he did prior to getting Tank Bigsby. This run game needs to transition to being a run game by committee as opposed to Saquon Barkley being the main workhorse like he was last year. Because Tank Bigsby has the potential to be the best number 2 option in the run game in the NFL. Tank Bigsby has the potential to be on David Montgomery's level. He's averaging almost 10 yards per carry right now. Tank Bigsby has David Montgomery potential. And we see how much having a run game by committee is paying off for the Lions right now in that Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery duo. The Eagles could really do the same thing with this duo of Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby needs the ball more. He needs the ball more. But then the last point I want to make quickly here is the defense did everything they could as well. Like Jalen Hurts did everything he could. The defense held up their end. The defense did everything they really could do in this game to put the Eagles in a position to win. Like they held Dak Prescott and this offense, an offense that is among one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. They held that unit completely scoreless through pretty much the entire first half. Like the Cowboys didn't score their first touchdown until like under 30 seconds to go, under 25 seconds to go in the second quarter. The Eagles did what more could the Eagles defense really, what more could that unit have done? Like anytime your defense holds an opposing offense, especially an opposing offense of that caliber, completely scoreless through basically the entire first half, minus the remaining 20 seconds, anytime your defense holds an opposing offense scoreless through most of the first half, there's no reason why you should not be winning this game. Like what else could this defense have done? Like the offense has to be able to win games without the defense having to bail them out. Like the offense should not have to rely on the defense to bail them out of games in order to pull a in order to come through with a W. AJ Brown was 100% right. AJ Brown was 100% right. The offense has to be able to deliver when the defense has an off night. The offense should not have to rely, in order to get a W for every single win of the season, the offense should not have to rely on the defense to bail them out. AJ Brown was right. The offense has to pick it up and do its part in order for the Eagles to make it through the playoffs. It's that simple. But that's all we got for today's edition of No Shameless Shane. If you haven't already, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. And I will be back later on with more shameless takes.